This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. NLT version. History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahawashi. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahawashi. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God. And Yahawashi is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9, is that the Lord is setting up a civil war in America. And America is known as Babylon the Great, also known as spiritually Egypt and Sodom. Okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is because you had a Air Force officer, major, get arrested a couple of weeks ago at the Capitol because he said openly in uniform, and this is him in uniform, all right, that Donald Trump needs to be impeached, arrested, removed, okay, and charged for crimes, all right. Like I said, the Lord is brewing up a civil war in America. And that's why I brought out Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9, because, hey, civil wars always happens in a declining empire, okay? Civil wars always happens, all right, in a declining empire. In fact, those are the key indicators to know that, all right, an empire is on its way out when there's civil wars constantly being brewed up, constantly happening, all right? You saw that in Rome, okay, for example. And you also are seeing here in America, because America already went through one civil war, and they're about to go through it again. Only this time, all right, there is no coming back, because that's going to lead to Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea to take advantage, okay, of that situation. So let's play this, and then we're going to go to some Roman history of civil wars happening, okay, and what led to the civil war. All right, so let's play this.
What is happening with President Trump is not normal. He has failed us, and not only is he a failure as president, he is flagrantly violating the Constitution, breaking the law, engaged in rampant corruption, and is killing Americans. And that is unacceptable to me. And it should be unacceptable to all of us. I feel like, unfortunately, many of us have gotten used to this, and we've normalized to this conduct, and we think that there's nothing that we can do about it. And one of the reasons I chose to use the pseudonym of Just a Nobody was to underscore that you do not have to be somebody special to take action and reject this government. We can all do something about what's happening in our country. And I want to just inspire people and bring the conversation to impeach, convict, remove. And there are organizations out.
So there you go, okay? He said reject his government, all right? He said that Donald Trump is killing Americans, all right? These are words that are very important, all right, amongst the military that's divided, that's disgruntled, that's upset, okay, with this war. All right? That's why you're having mutiny on the USS Abraham Lincoln. All right? Where Iran reported, all right, that several soldiers were killed, all right, due to infighting. They were stabbing each other up with knives, all right, because on those vessels, all right, weapons are not easily accessible in terms of a firearm. So, what's the next best thing? Knives, okay? So, this is the Lord brewing up a civil war. And again, nothing new under the sun. This happened before. America went into a civil war, remember? All right? And I've always said this. Once you see the military at odds with the current order or the current structure, all right, that's where you get a civil war. In fact, the civil war in America, right, was it not? Where's it at? Right here. I said, how did the American Civil War start? The American Civil War caused by deep political and economic split over slavery. All right, that was part of it. It also had to do with states' rights as well. Southern states relied on unpaid slave labor for farming. Northern states wanted to stop slavery from growing. When Abraham Lincoln won the election of 1860, Southern states left the Union to protect slavery. War began when Confederate forces, okay, meaning a military, attacked a military fort, Sumter, in April 1861, okay? All right? And you had a lot of, what's it called? Soldiers that were part of the Union joined the Confederate forces and leave the Union, all right, because they believed in the cause. They had a belief, all right? So this is nothing new under the sun. Again, what you're seeing with this is an Air Force officer major. Do you know how hard it is to get that rank? All right. So this is not a stupid person. Okay, he's not a Pookie and Ray Ray. All right. So, and he is advocating, all right, to reject the government. He said it: reject the government, remove the current president, arrest, impeach. All right. So again, the Lord is brewing up a civil war. And again, as the scriptures say, what? I got it right here. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. Man's going are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? All right. Now let's get another historical event. Rome, because this is Rome all over again. So I asked in this civil war, it was mainly Roman army fighting among themselves. Yes, that is exactly correct. When the Roman Civil War became purely a clash between standard legions of the Roman army, okay? Meaning one unit fights another unit, okay? One brigade fights another brigade, all right? Nothing new under the sun, all right? Without outside invaders or major rebel factions dominating the theater. It massively escalated the devastation. Two most famous conflicts matching this description were Roman legions aggressively slaughter each other while completely breaking the empire's food supply. Are we not seeing America's food supply being broken? Okay. The food supply is getting expensive. The food is also getting moldier, okay, getting spoiled quicker, all right? You're clearly seeing the food supply being broken. Not to mention, okay, I have to go back into this. Where is it at? Where is it at? Remember, as of right now, recent surveys show that over 40% of military families experience food insecurity, driven by inflation, low base pay for junior enlisted personnel, frequent relocations, and barriers to spousal employment. Nothing new under the sun. Okay? Roman soldiers were starving, just like these American soldiers are starving as well. Okay? Food insecurity, just a nice way of saying famine. Okay? So This is why we got to bring the scriptures out, all right? Because the scriptures are very important. Um, Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. You notice how the Lord said he's going to do this? And who are the modern day Egyptians today? These American Edomites, okay? And this also shows that, all right, not only is America Babylon the Great, it's also spiritually Egypt and Sodom, okay? Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2, all right? And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? This, all right, the so-called white man are the modern day Egyptians, all right? However, they are the biblical Edomites, okay? And they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Right. Did you not hear this Air Force general? Major? He said reject the government. Okay? Let's hear it again. Let's start. Okay, repetition. Maybe you didn't hear it all. Jake got a 30-second attention span. Let's do it again.
What is happening with President Trump is not normal. He has failed us, and not only is he a failure as president, he is flagrantly violating the Constitution, breaking the law, engaged in rampant corruption, and is killing Americans.
Whoa, that's a big statement right there. He's saying words for soldiers to hear and say, yo, we got to overthrow this government. Civil war is being set up by the Lord. Okay? This is the Lord setting it up. All praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You have a major, an officer, and I've been saying this. I'm gonna say it again. All it takes is a couple of officers, majors, colonels, charismatic, all right, to, all right, captivate the minds of the young servicemen to say, yeah, the hell with this current government. We gotta overthrow it, and boom, you got yourself a civil war. I always said, watch the military. Once the military begins to fracture, you got yourself a civil war. It ain't Pookie or Ray Ray that's going to kick this off. It's going to be these soldiers that are going to kick it off, man. All right? It always happens. That's why you need pattern recognition to understand history. Pattern recognition. Those are the ones that have high IQs. Okay? It's getting spicy. The Lord is setting it up, man. Perfectly, man. All praise and glory to Yahweh. We're almost out of here. We're just waiting for that chip. All right? And that's a great way to put in the chip. Hey, man, we don't know who you are. We don't know if you're fighting for the blue team, the red team, the green team. Yo, get chipped up so we identify, okay, if you're part of this system or not. Okay? Let's keep playing.
And that is unacceptable to me. And it should be unacceptable to all of us. I feel like, unfortunately, many of us have gotten used to this, and we've normalized to this conduct, and we think that there's nothing that we can do about it. And one of the reasons I chose to use the pseudonym of Just a Nobody was to underscore that you do not have to be.
By the way, this is illegal what he did on the military. I got it right here. Because I remember when I went into the military, they say, all right, you're not supposed to protest or have grievances in your uniform. Okay? And this is what this airman major officer did. So he knew exactly what he's doing. All right, he was making a statement. He basically saying he can't be bought. All right, he can't be paid off. All right, he doesn't care about his career. All right, this is it. Violating the uniform code of military justice. This is powerful stuff, man. This is how you know the Lord is, all right, is sowing the discourse, sowing the civil war foundation right before your very eyes. And Jake still can't see it. Jake is so stuck on sports and video games and celebrity bullshit. It's ridiculous, man. But it's all right though. 2/3 got to die in this godforsaken place called America, Babylon the Great. All right. But this is it. So he knew exactly what he was doing. All right. When I was in the military, we were told if you have any problems with your government, if grievances, you're not supposed to protest in uniform. Okay. In uniform. And it's under the UCMJ Article 88 mandates, punishment for commissioned officers who use contemptuous words. Right, contemptuous. All right? This is powerful right here. Because he showing contempt, scornful. Okay? Latin, despising law and order. That's a civil war, okay? Because again, this is an officer. All right, this is why they have these laws in play, because when you use those despising civil, the current law and order, all right, you're despising it. You're sowing discord amongst the military. You're sowing discord amongst, okay, those that take orders from the president. So he knew exactly what he was doing. All right, and this is a civil war. Again, all praise go to Yahweh Shem Yal Shai. It has to be done this way. So hey, this prophecy has to be fulfilled, and you have to watch the military. Once the military fracture, it's game on, man. All right, you think it's all right. You think you've seen violence? You haven't seen violence. All right, this ain't a fucking movie. This is real life. All right, take that Hollywood mindset and throw it out the window. All right, you should start looking at historical documentations of how civil wars start, all right, and what happens in a civil war. And I'm going to show you Rome. We're going to go back to Rome. Bear me one moment. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, right? Okay? And shoot. City against city, right? You're going to have, look what happened in the first Civil War in America, okay? These states are like a city, all right? You had states fighting against states, right? So let's go back to Rome. Oh no, first I want to play out, because what did he say? What did he say about the government?
Be somebody special to take action and reject this government.
Woo! Reject this government. That's a powerful statement right there. Again, officer, major, Air Force. Okay, that's very hard. It's very hard to be a major in the Air Force. Okay, but you have to take all these steps because they want the best and the brightest in the Air Force, man. All right, so this is major, man. This is major. That's so it's getting spicy. So now let's go back to Rome. So the two most famous conflicts matching description were Roman legions aggressively sought each other while completely breaking the empire's food supply, right? And you clearly see that we have a food problem here in America, all right? Even the soldiers are, okay, having food problems. The year of four emperors. Following the suicide of Emperor Nero, hey, who knows? Could this be how the Civil War breaks? Donald Trump, okay, somehow, gets removed from power either by suicide or either by a disgruntled centurion, right? Or Praetorian Guard, maybe somebody from the Secret Service, who knows, right? The Roman Empire collapsed into absolute military chaos. 4 different generals were declared emperor by their own respective regional legions within a single year. Right, again, regional legions like a brigade, okay, a unit, all right, and they all were following their commanding officer, not the other commanding officer. Galba, Otho, Vitalis, and Vespasian. The military clash. This was entirely an internal army war. The frontier legions of Germany marched against the legions of Italy, which were then attacked by the massive legions of the East. So you're going to have also other nations, all right, get involved in this war. Like I said, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, they're going to take advantage of this civil war. You best believe. They're not going to sit idle, all right? In fact, they're going to fund the civil war, all right? You're going to see officers making deals with Russia. You're going to see officers making deals with China, okay? Like, hey, if you supply us, all right, with the weapons we need, okay, you can have a foothold here. Yeah. And then you already know where it says the caterpillars in Babylon. Those are these different nations coming in, tearing up shop, all right? Because, hey, people always compromise, all right, for an incentive. Let's see. Let's get the scripture about the caterpillars. You got to bring this out, man. We here, man. Caterpillars. All right. Don't just because you see that business as usual, and you're still able to go to work, and you're still able to pay your bills, and you're still able to see bullshit stuff on the television or on the internet. that things are not happening. Things are happening, man. Okay? Um, no, it's got to be Jeremiah 51. Salakia. Bear with me one moment. Yeah, here it is. Jeremiah 51, verse 13. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, right? It's talking about America, Babylon the Great. Read the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 15. Okay? Around the 15th verse. The many waters represents America, Babylon the Great. Because what does the waters represent? Nations, peoples, and tongues. That's how you know this place is going to be invaded by multiple nations. Okay? What are you proud ass Americans going to do? All right, when you hear a different foreign language, a foreign national as they call it, all right, run up in your shit. Abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. Yup. 14. Because why is the Lord judging you? Your covetousness. Because America can never keep at home. They're involved in everybody's business. All right. That's why. All right. The war is coming to the home front. All right. And because your military is not going. All right. To protect you, because they're going to fight amongst each other. All right. 14. The Lord of hosts have sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. NLT version. The Lord of heaven's army. So this is the Lord's doing. See, we always give it to the Lord. The Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel, is doing this. Has taken this vow and has sworn to it by his own name. Your cities will be filled with enemies, like fields swarming with locusts, and they will shout in triumph over you. Right? Okay? Like it says right here in Rome. Germany took advantage. All right? Marched against the legions of Italy, which were then attacked by the massive legions of the East. All right? Other Romans. In battles like the brutal battle of Bet Rakum, elite, highly trained Roman legions clashed head on, completely wiping each other out. The food crisis, right? And this is what's going to cause a civil war. Food problems, man. And the military is going to be highly upset, all right, because they're already not eating well. They're going to be. That's why the civil war is coming, man. The food crisis. A massive armies numbering tens of thousands of soldiers marched across Italy and the provinces. They did not rely on standard supply lines. They survived by requisitioning and forcefully seizing all local food, livestock, and standing crops, meaning civilians, okay? Meaning those doomsday preppers, okay? All you doomsday preppers in America talking about, yeah, I got my food, I got my guns. Well, the military may not have as much food or lack of food, but they got the big boy weapons, and they'll drone your little fucking, okay, whereabouts and take your shit, okay? And take your women and children. Because it's going to get graphic here, man. All right, that's why in 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. 15, for the sword and destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Okay, and really, it's the military that's going to be at each other's necks, man, because they're the ones that got the sword. 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right, didn't that major officer say that you need to reject this government? Okay, and that you need to stand up for the Constitution? So, hey, that's this prophecy being fulfilled. And again, it's the military that's going to have the weapons. So Pookie and Ray Ray ain't going to save you. Pookie and Ray Ray is going to be slaughtered by these military personnel, especially that these military personnel are going to bed hungry. Again, we got to show this. U.S. soldiers, 40% of families are experiencing hunger. So these soldiers are thinking about their own family and their own belly, not you. You're going to be taken just like it was in Rome. All right? Requisitioning. What is this? This is a nice $100 word. An official order laying claim to the use of property or materials. Right. Martial law. This is our shit. We taking this shit. Spoiling. Doesn't the scriptures talk about spoiling their goods? Okay. Right? Hold up. 2nd Esdras to 16. Towards the end. Yep. Second Esdras chapter 16, verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. Who's this great multitude? The military that's angry and fighting each other. They're gonna look at you as easy pickings, man. I always like to use this analogy. If you ever watch Night of the Living Dead, is it George Romero's George Romero's Night of the Living Dead? All right, but no, it's called Dawn of the Living Dead. It's when they what's it called? A group of survivors take over a mall. But in the beginning, all right, what did you see? You saw the military mainly, along with you know, the locals who are down with the military, all right, working with the military, okay, basically mercenaries, all right, and deputized by the military. They're shooting zombies and laughing and drinking beer. Do you know who those zombies represent? You Jakes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? Because you don't have a standing army. Remember, all right, you've been broken up as a people. This was the curses. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans don't have an army to protect you when this military fractures, all right? And they're at each other's necks. They're going to look at you as easy pickings, okay? And they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idol. Right, who's this talking to? The Lord's talking to the Israelites, okay? And a lot of you Israelites are going to consent to these devils, fear of being put to death, and you're going to get put to death anyway. All right, because a lot of you are going to go take that chip because you don't want to be part of, all right, the slaughterhouse, and you're going to die anyway. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. 70, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right. Okay? This is talking about the Israelites, man, mainly. All right, and of course you got those wacky tacky plantation Christians, but this is really referring to the Israelites, man. All right, those that are okay, know that the Israelites, or those that okay have some, because the scriptures talk about though they have a zeal for the Lord, but not according to knowledge, and that's a lot of our people. You know, they know the Bible is the truth. They know the Bible, okay, is the word of God, but they don't have it according to knowledge. They're not even recognizing that they're the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. All right? So you're going to be part of this insurrection. 71, they shall be like madmen, men sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Right? Just like what happened in Rome. All right? For they shall waste and take away their goods, here we go, and cast them out of their houses. You see that? All right? Who's going to have that power to do that? The military. All right? The divided military at each other's necks. Okay? Taking over territory. Because in this war, right? Let's go back to what Rome did. That's why you got to understand history. As a massive armies numbering tens of thousands of soldiers marched across Italy and the provinces. Right? So it's like, let's look at here in the States. Say a civil war broke out in we'll go down here in South Florida, right? Civil war broke out. All right, you got several military officers captivating the minds of soldiers, saying, "Hey, we got to take over, all right, it's the state of Florida, and set up a fortress here before we take over the government," because that's how militaries start. There has to be some sort of takeover. All right, like what happened in the Civil Wars, right? Fort Sumter, all right, taking over territory, all right, building a blockade, all right, before you advance to the next city or the next town. So in the midst of all that, you Jakes are gonna be running around like, what the fuck, while the military, the occupying military, okay, brigade is telling you to give me your shit, get the fuck out the house. Oh, you one of those Bible believers? Okay, well, there you go. All right, because it's gonna be a dog eat dog world when this shit goes down. All right. So again, nothing new under the sun, man. 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same right. And the only ones that are going to be delivered from the hands of this disgruntled, psychotic military force, all right, while they're at each, again, the whole theme of this is civil war. All right, the only ones going to be delivered are the elect of the nation of Israel. Everybody else, you getting fried, man. Fried, cooked, and tagged. Okay, what kind of American are you? That's exactly what's going to be happening here. Did you watch the movie Civil War? Did you think this movie Civil War is far-fetched? All right, for you Hollywood, Jakes out there that look at movies as a, as a source or inspiration. Yeah. 75. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God. Let not, the God of Israel, by the way, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Right, and this is, okay, you don't want to be in that spirit when all hell breaks loose, that you letting your sins weigh you down, your iniquities, all right, lift up themselves against you, okay? Because in 77 says, woe, meaning death and destruction, be unto them that are bound with their sins, and covered with their iniquities, like a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travail through. Right. All right. And this is clearly talking about the Israelites, because who can sin against the Lord? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Israelites. Because what is sin? Transgression of the law. All right. The Lord don't give a fuck about these heathens. All right. These heathens are going into slavery. Those that survive World War III outside of America, because America is being shish kebab. This place is being fried, cooked, burnt. This is the lake of fire. That's why we're just waiting for this chip. So let's go back to the sedition. All right. For there shall be sedition. So back to 2 Ezra 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the courts of their actions shall stand in the power of civil war. 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right. Because it's going to be blockaded by, all right, the current military faction, whether the rebel military or the one that's backing the government. Okay. 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the house shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right. And you know who's going to be doing a lot of the spoiling? The military. Okay? Because they're going to have the sword. They're going to have the lack of bread. Okay? This food, again, food insecurity, it's hitting 40%. Let's do it again. 40% of the military families experiencing food insecurity. All right? So this military, all right, is going to be on a rampage, making sure that their family's taken care of. All right? And that's going to be incentive by the officer. Hey, look, officer's going to tell them, look, you want your family to be fed? All right, then you got to go into these towns and take what you find. All right? And then you're going to have the officers telling these those that, hey, who has military experience? All right, you must fight for our army or die, or be taken. Yeah, it's going down, man. All right. Is going down, all right, because we're in the end times and all chaos is about to break loose. And really, this food, when the food problems is hitting the military, yeah, it's hitting the whole country. So, last one. While the U.S. military command structure publicly executes orders, internal, because it asks, is there division in the U.S. military regarding the war in Iran? That was the question. So I'll give you context. While the U.S. military command structure publicly executes orders, internal and generational divisions exist regarding the war strategy, mounting resource constraints, and toll of prolonged deployments. Right. And they didn't even say food supply. Throw in the food supply problem. Rather than an open institutional revolt, the friction manifests as strategic exhaustion, debate over depleted munitions, and a generational gap in perspective between younger enlisted personnel and older veterans. Right. And the younger enlisted personnel, okay, are getting fed up, all right, because they came in, really, they didn't come in for patriotic reasons, not like the older veterans. They came in for money. They came in for, okay, to get out of poverty, and now they're still starving, all right, they're still having, okay, living situation that's unbearable. So yeah, okay. So they're gonna go along with an officer like this who okay, saying nah, all right, they're breaking the Constitution. You must reject this government. Follow me. They're like, yes, all right, we got to overthrow this government. That's exactly what's coming. Again, this is the will of the Lord. Again, this is the will of the Lord. Why? Matthew chapter 12, and I'm going to end off with this one, verse 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Aren't we clearly seeing that? 26. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Right, and you're clearly seeing it. All right? NLT version. If Satan is casting out Satan, he is divided and fighting against himself. His own kingdom will not survive. And you're clearly seeing America's not surviving. This is powerful, man. Okay? The fact that this, okay, major officer out of the Air Force did this in public, got arrested, okay, he did this in uniform, this is a big statement. And this is the Lord brewing up a civil war. And again, nothing new under the sun. Civil wars always happen. That's a sign and indicator that an empire is falling. And with that, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep enduring, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostles, elders. We're almost out of here. To the fuses that are watching, keep studying. When you pray with your head cover. Hey, we're almost out of here. Lock in. The civil war is coming. All right. Make sure you're serving the Lord in truth and sincerity. All right. This ain't a time to be looking back. This ain't a time to be doubting. Okay. This is a time to be sincerely seeking the Lord. All right. Repenting. Okay. And again, we're coming to 2 high holy days, man. All right. And one of them is the Day of Atonement. We're coming up to it. All right. So stay locked in. And with that, Shalom.